so I'm gonna say that I've been doing YouTube for almost 8 years now, and I'm gonna just say it that doing YouTube videos as much as I have done, I'm gonna say that I really love being a YouTuber. Like, I love being able to create content, but like, I just gotta say in so many senses, I want to say thank you to the audience more than anything for getting this channel to this point. Like, it's amazing to be able to know that I can inform but also entertain people with my videos. But YouTube is not just a perfect like thing for me to do. Like, although there are some, like, I love YouTube without a doubt, but there are some cons to doing YouTube more than anything, which is why I'm gonna make this video today on some cons that I have with doing YouTube videos. So let's do it. Don't you forget about me. So I'm gonna say the pros in doing YouTube videos outweigh the cons in so many ways. In fact, there's so many more pros that I wouldn't be able to explain all of them, but I want to give some of my cons, which I do have in doing YouTube videos. The first thing which I will say, which I actually had to go through when doing the whole pro outweighs the cons thing, is repeating myself originally. Like, I will say that nowadays I don't hate the idea of repeating myself, especially if I have to go in and like say certain things in a certain way. Like, sometimes I don't phrase stuff correctly and that stuff, and but back then, like a couple of years ago, let's say back in 2020, I absolutely despise the idea of like repeating myself in multiple different clips. I hated that idea of going in and just repeating myself. I wanted to do everything in a one thing take. Like, just do it all in one go, which I can understand myself doing back then because I was wanting to do like videos in a certain way, but it also kind of gave off like a vibe of it just didn't exactly do the best for my channel in some ways. So like, originally I hated the idea of repeating myself, but nowadays I don't really mind doing it because, especially for me, editing my videos in the way I do, I tend to go in and say certain things in certain ways multiple times to either get them right or I just don't say the sentence right. It's just all that stuff of like making sure that I get the right lines and that stuff and understanding how the video is gonna be in my head. Like, this is something which I used to originally hate back in my first couple of years of doing YouTube, but now I've gotten more used to it, so I guess this doesn't really count. But something which does count, which I absolutely despise, is when I'm filming a video and let's say I accidentally set the camera mode on the wrong mode in the first place. This camera, the Sony ZV-1F, is my first standalone YouTube camera. I love this camera a lot, and I like the audio is great. The actual like image is great. It's in 60 frames, 1080p. It's great. But the problem to me is that I have an issue with, unfortunately, putting this camera in slow motion mode. Now, this wouldn't necessarily be an issue, but the big thing that really makes this a lot harder is if you don't have a second device that's recording audio, which I normally don't, you unfortunately will lose the audio to the footage in question. iPhones are not notorious for actually having awful slow motion video. They actually have great slow motion video, going up to, I think it's either 240 frames per second at 4K, plus they record audio as well, so this actually does very nicely when it comes down to recording like slow motion video. But this camera unfortunately removes the audio. I've almost had full-blown videos basically completely scrapped because of that. One video in question, which almost got completely scrapped, was I bought my Nintendo Wii video. Half of the video was in slow motion, lost the audio for it, and I nearly scrapped it, but I was able to improvise and I wanted to roll with the video anyway. But, okay, so going down to my next point, which this is something which I happily didn't experience a couple days ago. By the time I'm posting this, this was something which I absolutely despised, which is live streams not malfunctioning. Or not functioning? Quick context time. This is my MSI gaming laptop. I bought it back in 2023 for the main purpose of doing gaming videos on the channel, which you wonder why I don't do gaming videos, huh? This guy is unfortunately notorious for completely quitting out on live streams, even with a wired connection. Ethernet. It's not like this guy is a bad laptop either. This guy's got a 3050 in it, a 16 gigabytes RAM, 512 gigabytes storage, and also an Intel i5 in it. So it's not like this guy can't run. But with certain games like Poppy's Playtime 2, or probably something like, I don't know, Fazbear Nights 2, this guy is notorious for quitting on streams. I tried doing a Lethal Company stream a couple months ago, and I couldn't even get through it. I couldn't even get through the stream without it completely quitting on me. And unfortunately, it's not easy to fix these issues because the streams will sometimes entirely quit to the point to where they will literally become corrupted. And I absolutely hate this gaming laptop for that reason. Going to a bit of a different side though, Mac. I do gotta absolutely say that I absolutely love this MacBook Air. Like, it's my favorite Mac. Like, and I will say that going onto the editing side, I use Final Cut Pro, which has been a great editing software. I've been using it since July. I've had basically no issues. Besides one, which is render files. I'm gonna explain render files as I have my dog in my lap. Basically, render files are basically when you edit a video, it'll compile all of the footage together, so it'll basically run the video smoothly when you're going and playing it through the editing software. Unfortunately, a big issue is that when the video is rendered, it will build up over time in its own separate folder, which unfortunately gets compiled and the storage builds up over time. I've had multiple moments where the actual render files will build up to the point to where basically the full computer will basically be like, oh, your storage is too low, you have to clear out some files. And the render files have always been the case, especially in Final Cut Pro. Don't get me wrong, Final Cut Pro is great, but there was at one point where I was in the middle of editing Speed Force Spectre's video, but I couldn't even delete the render files. It wouldn't allow me, and I basically had to go and update my computer and so much more to delete the render files. And I hated that. Like, absolutely. This is interesting for me to do. Side note, as I am talking about editing as well, all these other YouTubers like Trolls Band Together Fan, Lambo, and that stuff, all of them don't have very good editing standards. And I absolutely hate that with a passion, especially for the fact that literally Alex calls like big film studios cheap and lazy.
I can't believe the worst user still uses a freaking device next to him. I'm sorry, but that's just cheap and lazy. And his videos are way too long, honestly.
Why? Your videos aren't even that good. At least, like, prove you're not cheap and lazy yourself. Another thing which I absolutely hate, and this is finally something which I get to be able to talk about in my video, is YouTube downloaders and their unreliability. And the reason why I want to bring this up is whenever I'm using like stuff for certain videos, like sound clips or clips from other YouTubers and that stuff like that, I always have to go through a YouTube downloader. And there are moments where some YouTube actually, just to give context of how many YouTube downloaders I use 5 of them. Not by choice either. All of them either go through different moments where it's like, oh, you have to use a different software, or certain videos won't download correctly in their formats, or videos aren't going to be at high enough resolution, and it's always so unreliable because you have to either go in with another piece of software or something like that, and it's like, I don't want to download more software just to get a video in 1080p. And it sucks because it's just a thing where it's like, I want to download certain videos, I can't. Because literally they will say, oh, these videos are so-and-so, and it also doesn't help that other like YouTube brands or YouTube music labels will literally make it so they remove YouTube downloaders because they're getting like pirated and that stuff, and I generally hate YouTube downloaders nowadays. I swear it feels like a better idea to literally use your phone to download the videos in question, or just screen record the videos in question, and I hate that. I hate it. I've been thinking about it for a minute, and I don't honestly think there's any other cons. And I actually have to say I'm glad that my dog got to guest star. I don't know. It's just one of those things where there's not really any other cons that I can think of, just strictly from YouTube and that stuff, not anything like a massive standard, which, yes, my dog wants to leave now. So I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll see you guys later when I talk about why I use an iPod in 2025. I've been wanting to do a video for that for years on end, and I still haven't. Until now. Bye!